Hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Casual Otaku Weekly with me, Shannen, the Anime Misfit, and my cohort, as always, the furry guy from down the lane. It's Lamp.
Hello everybody, well good afternoon, morning, etc.
Alright, we have gotten everything settled in as we talk about the news from August 17th to now August 23rd. As we start with our first article, the Southwest Asian and Indian anime fans disproportionately affected by pirate site KissAnime closing down. The anime news article of as follows. The piracy anime and manga websites KissAnime and KissManga become inaccessible last week. As you know, that's what we talked on last time. Anime News Network surveyed its readers on their attitudes towards the closure of the sites and found out support for the sites were higher in India and Southeast Asia compared to the US. That seems more to be expected of what was going to happen with the pirate site KissAnime. And the rest of the article, you can read it yourself, is mostly about they're going into all these little numbers about how everybody is really sad and angry about it. And I want to clarify, now that we're talking about KissAnime again, about a complaint from last week that maybe we're being a little too negative. In my graceful opinion, I wasn't trying to be, at least for me, I can't talk for Lamp, being so negative about KissAnime closing down and how we just don't feel much to it. And while that is true, I don't have much of a adherence to KissAnime than I used to when I was younger. I do understand that it was a place where everybody could access anime, even if illegally. It was a start of a lot of people's anime fandom, and I don't want to come off as being disingenuous to that. That being said, I was recently clarified that maybe the reasons I had particular problems with those sites, they've been doing a tactic where if they see an ad blocker, they'll essentially hold your video watching experiences hostage until you turn it off. And then you get all the stupid malware ads and all that hoo-ha. And apparently, there are other ones that work better, and that could have changed my entire view. So I'm just correcting myself on that and making that transparent and clear to you all. Though my point still stands with the KissAnime thing is that it was just gonna happen eventually, and while it is sad to see it go, and I just really think that the people who really didn't have access, the people that KissAnime and KissManga were really for, kind of be blocked out because according to the article's numbers, compared to the US getting like 1,000 or so anime series, India and the Southeast Asian markets have a fraction of that. So for us, I know that it's kind of interesting because we're from the US anime fandom, and the US anime fandom has a different perspective because we also have access to it legally compared to countries that really don't have a lot of these anime access. But what do you think, Lamp?
Like I said, it's not as like we're trying to be mean about it. It's expected. KissAnime is a pirate site. It's gonna get shut down eventually. There's no stopping that. But while it has some problems, it is ultimately sad to see it go. And yeah, I'm cold about it, but I can watch on other sites. I do hope that people can find, especially in India, Southeast Asia, I understand that they might or need better access points for anime sometimes, and I hope they can find a replacement, not just KissAnime, but something they can use to still access manga or anime, free or otherwise, but one that isn't hopefully taken down again.
To be more precise, I'm not going to say his name, but the guy who runs the Because.moe search engine, Because.moe search engine is for us anime fans to look up an anime and see where you can legally stream it. And for some countries, that's kind of a thing that you need. I find it interesting that he told ANN that Because.moe search engine site doubled in traffic volume following the news of KissAnime getting shut down. Because again, it's so much limited access compared to what we get here in the US. And I feel like needed sites like KissAnime, so it kind of sucks. What you gonna do? It's just when you think about it, it is sad because like I said before, it's an end of an era, and this is just really gonna change how a lot of us, not just in one parts of the world, are gonna just watch anime and experience it. We'll just have to see.
It's all the man trying to keep us down, yo.
Actually, for once, I'm going to agree with you, Lamp. That 60s comment is very appropriate right now. But enough of the man getting our giblets. Let's move on to the next article about Change.org. Oh boy. A Change.org petition titled, "We Boys Are Not Wolves. Shonen Jump Should Distinguish Between Eroticism and Sexual Violence," concluded on Friday after collecting over 4,000, count 'em, 4,000 online signatures in just over a week. The campaign organizer, a man named, I'm just gonna put it up on screen, not even gonna try it, demanded that weekly Shonen Jump should include content warnings and explanatory notes in panels containing sexual violence. He also demanded for Jump to survey its readers about their sexual education in order to create expressions of sexuality that can be properly grasped by the audience. Like before, I'm not gonna read the whole thing. You look it up yourselves. Essentially what this article, from what I can gather, is about people's concern about how certain titles of Shonen Jump treat sexual harassment of its characters. He specifically notes the ecchi series To Love Ru. Like it says here, many of the sexual scenes depicted in To Love Ru are portrayed without mutual consent, and he now understands that it's not okay to look at a woman's body in a sexual way without regarding her feelings. Though, according to Tokyo's non-existent youth bill, which sought to restrict sexualized depictions of fictional underage characters, this bill was ultimately rejected by the Tokyo Metropolitan Assembly in 2010 because Uzaki-Chan often heard oppositions of censorship. As I said, people were scared of the censorship. That Shonen Jump readers, that people can, distinguish themselves between fantasy and fiction. And you know what? That's a fair argument. Like with everything going on with Twitter and the community right now with the whole Me Too movement, there's a good side and everything about how we object women's bodies and how we should treat them in the workplace and in society, and when to recognize that it's just a joke or a work of fiction and that we shouldn't take it too seriously. But what I empathize most about this article is how Uzaki-Chan has more of an issue with knowing when to jump in when a group of people are harassing a woman or something, and when to just interpret it as, well, it's just boys being boys. And he doesn't say it with such malice, so I guess that's what I kind of get from all this. Like, he doesn't want to censor anime, but the reason the petition is made is just to give more labels and like make it more aware. Heck, a lot of pirate sites for manga do that. They do kind of put the warning label of, hey, this has gore, hey, this has sexual violence, and stuff like that. You can have a smack at this, lamp, because this is a lot of can of worms to say in one casual otaku weekly.
I understand that readers should be able to distinguish between fantasy and fiction, and mind you, I know some can't, but yeah, I can see how certain manga, certain anime does need a certain amount of labels and warnings or a better nuanced approach. I mean, I see my fair share of just regular manga sometimes with sexualized acts, to be fair, and it doesn't have to be too explicit, but it's shown in a way that is kind of one-sided or badly written, and maybe that's just the way they wrote the show, maybe that's the way they wrote the manga. So while some nuanced change could definitely be good, I don't think it would go as far as censoring. I don't think they would take it as far as that. Even if this does gain traction, I don't think it's going to change too much within the industry, but I can appreciate the idea of what he's trying to go for and bringing a better balanced light to it. Although I say one thing, while he mentioned not jumping in because, boys will be boys, haha, that mindset, while it technically is a thing, I really don't like the idea of just boys will be boys. There could be a lot of improvement there too, just speaking as a guy. Yeah, that needs to change too.
Okay, let me ask you something. So, according to, again, in this article, he uses that example about the whole boys be boys when he looks on, a group of kids when he was a kid, about boys being exposed to, these types of messaging or content as a fulcrum to why these boys are, sexually harassing some of these girls. I'm not gonna pretend like I know how Japan teaches their kids about the birds and the bees, if they do at all or not, but it comes off to me like they have a harder time talking about sexual conversation with their kids than we do. That's a 6th grade lesson they teach you at this point? Or do you think, Lamp, coming from a guy's perspective, it's not really about the sexual conduct, labeling it as sexual harassment or not, or more like just leaving all this alone? They just don't want to be bothered with any drama of the such.
I think it's more of, I guess what I say, column A and B. I think they know that it is skirting that territory of harassment, but also they just kind of want to leave it alone because it's been that way for probably a long time. They probably still want to do anything about it, which that's up to each company and how they want to handle it and with their writers and how they do their projects. But I think it's kind of a little bit of both on this project side. That's just what I'm seeing from this article anyway.
Another thing I want to address about this, and the reason why I kind of brought this article up on a personal note, is I feel like anime kind of does a good job translating what kind of manga it is from the manga's cover. When I look at a seinen anime compared to a shonen anime, which seinen is just for the older boy demographic, it can be night and day sometimes. Looking at One Piece and looking at something like Parasite side by side, I feel like you can tell what you're getting into. Then again, Japan's view of sexuality is a lot more fluid. You see a lot more things in general in a shonen anime, them being a lot more provocative, looking at girls certain ways. In ecchi series, being open about pervertism. I mean, let's just kind of dial it back a bit, because I know this whole thing is a big slippery slope that really could use an academic video. But just to be more fair, because, keeping it casual as per the brand. But objectively, I think what they're asking is not that bad of a deal. All they're really asking is, in the petition. I mean, it's change.org. There's the meme, change.org petitions don't really go anywhere. But for the sake of argument, their demands aren't that bad. They just want labels on a given work to say, hey, this has sexual violence on it. I mean, it's gonna be kind of weird how they only singled out sexual violence, but hey. The second part of them to survey its readers about their sexual education, I feel like wouldn't fly. And here's the thing, I think anime already properly does that in the stores.
There are a fair amount of labels already on these kind of animes and mangas. I mean, you don't have to survey your viewership because if they're signing up for your service, they're going to have such a variety of people on there. That wouldn't really be much of a good point unless you really want to get marketing data. But no, like, yeah, labeling would definitely be a nice touch, especially for certain shows. But other than that, it should hopefully get far enough to get the message through, but I don't know how far it will really get, but here's hoping for the best.
And here's hoping. The second part, I don't think is going to get through. I'm not saying that it wouldn't fly. This seems like a very Japan exclusive change.org petition. And hey, maybe they see petitions more seriously in Japan, but who knows? Instead of that, let's talk about something we all really care about. Anti-Twitter drama. You can tell it's a slow news week. So, for a couple of weeks, there was a little ditty going on called Uzaki-Chan Wants to Relax. But regardless, Twitter was mad about her. To get an understanding of how I saw the controversy, apparently people wanted to cancel Uzaki-Chan, especially on that whole Red Cross promotion thing, because apparently her eyes were too big and she looked like a child, and therefore if you like Uzaki-Chan, the manga or anime, you're a pedophile? Despite the fact that Uzaki-Chan is canonically 19 and in college, we're way past the high school phase. Like, she's a full-grown ass adult. The whole initial drama was silly and stuff. It got at its peak at July 27th, around that time. Fast forward, there was Netflix had a little movie come out called Cuties, and its marketing was not the best because the picture sexualizes 11-year-olds. The movie Cuties is originally a French film about an 11-year-old who joins a dance crew through which she learns about her budding femininity against her mother's more traditional values, and it's supposed to be a critically acclaimed movie from the Sundance Film Festival about sensitive topics of girls growing up in the modern age and how internet affects their wanting to grow up too fast. Because man, lamp, let me tell you something. I know this is a side note. When I was in 8th grade, a lot of my other 8th graders looked like they were in the 10th grade. Like they were almost graduating high school or something. It was so amazing just looking at an 8th grader then and even looking at a 6th grader side by side, and you couldn't tell the difference.
I mean, that tends to happen sometimes in middle school. A lot were like, wait, you're still here? But they were like much bigger, older looking, but they were still, yeah, young.
I can understand why a movie like that would exist. Unfortunately for Netflix USA, at least, the marketing poster for it was really, really bad. It was just the word cuties and all the girls in compromising twerking positions. The original caption was just that bad. An 11-year-old joining a twerking squad. It was funny as fuck, to be honest. But you're kind of asking yourself, how does this pertain to anime? Well, the Uzaki-Chan defenders and the Netflix haters united on this day and basically created memes about how Twitter thinks Uzaki-Chan and a full-grown adult, this little girl when she's not, when America clearly has a problem with sexualizing girls in this Cuties ad that went horribly, horribly wrong. And in my opinion, I think this is another example of people are getting tired of anime being attacked on in recent months for its art style. We've been through this pony show before, and that's kind of my main opinion about this. The point I'm trying to make is that this anti-Twitter drama was really funny. It does reflect all of our inner feelings about how the internet is treating anime in general, and seriously, I don't like it, but I find it funny anyway.
I mean, that's basically the same kind of reaction I would imagine from at least the strictly Western market. Uzaki-Chan by itself is just a dumb drama situation. I still haven't watched the show myself, but it looks fine. I mean, the character's just short and they drew her specifically for that reason, and I think it's part of the funny part of the character. Cuties, and it's sad that the film that actually was supposed to be, much more nuanced was marketed so bad, but what do you expect from Western Netflix? But yeah, no, I think Uzaki-Chan is actually a pretty good show, and it gets more crap than it deserves.
I mean, are you sure it's not because of the other obvious reason why Uzaki-Chan gets so much attention?
Besides big boobs?
Yeah, besides big bazongas?
I mean, I think the show is just, from what I'm seeing in clips of it, it's just kind of the slice of life rom-com, and it's like, it looks fine. I just don't watch rom-coms much.
That's what I find the funniest, Lamp. Everyone wants to talk about how horrible Uzaki-Chan is, and I want to clarify I haven't watched Uzaki-Chan either. That's why I'm kind of like laughing more than I am like begrudging about it. But from what I've heard, Uzaki-Chan's a pretty normal slice of life that doesn't really try to go out of the box. It's just very, very just tame compared to what everybody wants to do. I feel like everyone's trying to make it a pillar simply because the girl is memeable and short, has big eyes and big boobs, but like anime has always been drawn like that, so I don't get why now, besides, you know, everybody just trying to find another thing to cancel. But the problem I have with the hypocrisy part is that I think no one really agrees with the Cuties poster. It's pretty obvious it was shit, so that's my devil's advocate to this whole comparison. Like, do you understand it, Lamp?
Yeah, no, I can see how people would have, just from the look of the poster from what I saw, issues without even having to look at the film. They'd be like, oh, it's just what those girls are doing is just that. I can see how that could make some problems.
The memes are really funny though. At the end of the day, the memes that are being made are like the best part of this whole thing. And that's all you can really ask for, really.
Exactly.
So, that's all the big news we had. So I'm gonna turn over to Lamp to talk a little about some of his smaller news. So head on out, Lamp.
And for you Sentai Filmworks fans, there's an event of Sentai at Home on August 26th. There'll be a bunch of interviews with a bunch of the cast, voice actors, etc. There's going to be some unboxings, some giveaways, and in general, all good chat online time. So if you wanted to check out some behind the scenes and also current going-ons of Sentai, there's that for you. And also, in news that makes me sad about my budget, one of the most popular Super Chat fans is a virtual YouTuber named Kiryu Coco. She makes about $810,000, I'm assuming, per year.
Damn!
And yeah, I'm looking at that like, oh, all right, that's cool. I have a job, but I want that money. Then again, virtual YouTube.
Lamp is jelly. Lamp is jelly. Lamp is jelly.
I want the money, but I mean, you know, kudos to them. They can make their living as that. I mean, virtual YouTubing as a whole apparently is quite popular, but apparently there's tiers of, even within money for virtual YouTubers, there's tiers in that too. So kudos to them. And there's like a whole list below them. They make a bunch more money than any of us ever do, just being online and being chat avatars.
One day, one of us will transform into a virtual YouTuber just for the heck of it to see what happens.
What am I doing wrong with my life?
It's okay. It's okay, Lamp. You still got the rest of the news.
Yeah. This is not necessarily related to anime. Technically it is. If you watched Fate Grand Order, if you liked the shield from... There was a shield, the main shield lady with the cross shield, they have a charger, a phone charger that glows and has a touch charger thing. So if you want to get that, that exists, and I kind of want it.
What would you rate it out of banana?
Ooh, let's see. Considering its size, which is kind of cumbersome, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of banana. It's kind of big for a phone charger, but it looks so awesome, and it glows when you put the phone on it. I'm like, heck yeah. It's almost as big as my nightstand, but I totally want it.
Lamp wants a charger the size of a rock.
It's huge. It's amazing, though. Got
anything else?
No, that's the two main articles I wanted to cover otherwise.
Dun 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 dun. Recommendations for the week. I'm gonna go first. And again, it's another manga because I could not be bothered to watch an anime in 1 week's time. The manga I have for this week is called Reizwa Tarin ga Il, or however the fuck you say it. It is a mafia romance comedy about two fucked up people from two fucked up mafia families trying to figure each other out and not kill each other along the way. You have this like sadistic guy. I forgot his name, so we're gonna call him Cherry for now. So we got this guy named Cherry, and Cherry is like, I'm sadistic and a psychopath, and I have all these problems. I constantly sleep with women. I basically tell the main character, who is the granddaughter of another major Japanese mafia family, to sell herself or go fuck off. And so she does, but not in the way he thinks. He was just trying to scare her off. You think it's gonna start out all, woe is me, I'm getting bullied, woe is me, the guy's a dick. But nah, she literally turns the tables in the final chapters and sells her kidney out of spite just to prove a point. I love it so much. There's like 18 chapters of the beautiful goodness, and I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it.
You know, selling your kidney out of spite's like really extra?
Yes, and that's the point.
Okay.
She sold her kidney just to prove a point, and the psychopath was like, I love you, marry me. But yes, it's a story about two crazy mafia people trying to not fall in love with one trying not to fall in love with each other, and the other one trying to prove his point while being just a scumbag of the scum. And he's so self-aware of him being scum, that it's funny. Your turn, Lamp.
So, Genie Family, I didn't know what it was called back in the decade I watched it, but essentially, Viz Media has acquired licensing to Genie Family, so they're going to be airing it on Crunchyroll starting in October. And as a quick summary of the show, basically, a kid finds a genie lamp, and this genie, of course, is not just the 3-wish kind, it's the stick-with-you kind, like Oh My Goddess, except it's a big, fat, dumb genie who sounds kinda stupid, literally.
Does he rhyme with kill Nif?
No. I think his name, at least in the Japanese one I used to watch, was Acho. So when you sneeze, he came out of his lamp. And he would help sort of grant the wishes of the main character or help the shenanigans, except that, of course, it wasn't always on plan. And there was always these other genies, too. It's a comedy show, slice of life kind of family kind of show. It's like Doraemon. And if you ever watch Doraemon, except it involves a magical genie instead of a magical cat thing who actually knows what he's doing. I used to watch the old show back in the day before it was revamped. And apparently, seeing the trailer now, it is so much better looking than I thought it was. So give it a shot if you're interested in watching a funny genie show that might not be quite Latin, but just as good.
Ooh, sounds very Arabian Nights-y and all that good jazz. And that's about it for this week. Sometimes you're just gonna have those slow news weeks where nothing really happens, really. Do as we always tell you. Subscribe to the Anime Misfit. Tweet out to the Anime Misfit or just my Twitter, our Twitters. I don't know, I forget. Oh yeah, Lamp has a Twitter. Do all the dooley doos you see everywhere on our screen and what other YouTubers tell you. I don't fucking know. It is Sunday. My room is getting a giant remodel and I could care less about getting stuff right now. So, Lamp, you got anything else to say before we all sign out?
Do as we tell you. Subscribe and follow the Hypnotoad.
Don't you mean Hypno Wolf?
Hypno, general entity of the thing we cannot describe or fathom.
Hypno furry it is. All right. Anyway, goodbye.
Bye.